Let me tell you about the specific quality of a jacket you know well. Not just any jacket. The jacket of someone you have known for 12 years. Someone who has been in your life so consistently, so completely, that their things become part of your visual vocabulary. You recognize them the way you recognize your own face in a mirror, instantly, without thinking. I opened the wrong closet door on a Saturday morning, looking for an umbrella. There was a jacket hanging there that did not belong to me. I took it off the hanger. I looked at it. And the recognition happened in the specific way I just described. Instantly, without thinking, I knew that jacket. I had seen it probably 100 times. I put it back on the hanger. I closed the closet door. I walked to the kitchen. I made coffee. My wife was still asleep. I sat at the kitchen table and I thought about what I knew. My wife had told me 7 months earlier that she had been having an affair. She had told me because she wanted to end it. The affair, not our marriage. She had said it was nobody I knew, anonymous, in the sense that it was someone completely outside our life together. I had believed her. I had believed her because the alternative, the specific, particular alternative that the jacket in my closet now represented, was something my mind had not been willing to construct. 12 years. I finished my coffee. I picked up my phone. I made one call. Stay with me. His name is Ryan. We met at 22 in the first week of a job that neither of us stayed at for more than a year, but that gave us each other, which was worth it. 12 years. Every version of each other. The broke years, the building years, the years of bad decisions and good ones. His wedding, I was his best man. My wedding, he was mine. When my wife and I had our first real fight, the kind that makes you question things, Ryan was the person I called. When his father was sick, I drove 4 hours on a Tuesday. No question. Just, I'm coming. That is what 12 years looks like. That is what I thought 12 years meant. He had been to my house hundreds of times. He knew where everything was. He knew our routines. He knew, apparently, which closet my wife used when she needed somewhere to put things she didn't want me to find. He had been in my life for 12 years. He had been in my marriage for 7 months. Those two facts sat next to each other in my mind that Saturday morning like two things that could not both be true and yet were. I called Ryan at 9:47 a.m. He picked up on a second ring. His voice was normal, easy, warm. The voice of someone who has no idea what is coming. I said, "Hey, can you come over?" He said, "Sure, everything okay?" I said, "Yeah, just need to talk." He arrived 40 minutes later. My wife was awake by then. She was in the living room when he walked in. I watched her face when she saw him. I was watching specifically for that. She went pale, not dramatically, just the specific draining of color from someone who has just understood what is about to happen. I said, "Sit down, both of you." They sat. I went to the closet. I took out the jacket. I carried it to the living room. I held it up. I said, "Ryan, is this yours?" A silence. He looked at the jacket, then at my wife, then at me. He said, "I can explain." And I said, "Yes or no?" He said, "Yes." I put the jacket on the coffee table between them. I sat down and I said, "I'm going to ask you both some questions. I need honest answers, not because I'm going to explode, because I deserve the full picture before I decide what to do with it." They answered my questions for 45 minutes. By the end of 45 minutes, I had the full picture. 7 months. It had started at a dinner party at our house. My house. Ryan had stayed late to help clean up. I'd gone to bed early. I had an early meeting. 7 months of my best friend in my marriage. At my dinner table, at my children's birthday parties. Standing next to me at a barbecue 3 weeks before I found the jacket with his arm around my shoulder, telling me I was his brother. I sat with all of that information. I looked at my wife. I looked at Ryan. I said to Ryan, I need you to leave, and I need you to understand that what we had for 12 years ended this morning. Not because of the affair, because of every moment since the affair started, when you sat across from me and chose not to tell me, every conversation, every dinner, every time you called me your brother. You had 7 months of chances. You chose none of them. That is what I cannot forgive. Not the thing itself. The 7 months after it. He started to say something. I said, please leave. He left. My wife and I talked for 3 hours after that. That conversation is between us. What I will say is that our marriage did not survive the year. Not because of the affair. Marriages can survive affairs. Ours did not survive the specific discovery that the person I had trusted most outside of our marriage had been inside it. That is a different kind of loss. Harder to name, harder to recover from. People ask me what happened to Ryan. The short answer is, he lost me. Which sounds small until you understand what 12 years of friendship contains. He lost the person who drove 4 hours when his father was sick. The person who gave the best man speech that made his mother cry. The person who knew every version of him and chose him anyway. He lost all of that. And I think about that sometimes, not with satisfaction, not with grief exactly, with a kind of clear-eyed recognition of what betrayal actually costs. It does not cost the person who is betrayed. Not ultimately. It costs the person who does the betraying, because they have to live with the knowledge of what they chose and what they lost by choosing it. I have rebuilt, slowly, differently, with a smaller circle and a much higher standard for who earns a place inside it. The jacket is gone. I threw it away the same morning. What I kept, unexpectedly, strangely, is a clearer sense of who I am when everything I thought I knew turns out to be different than I believed. It turns out I am someone who makes coffee, asks his questions, listens to the answers, and then decides what to do from the most grounded version of himself. That is not nothing. New story every day. Subscribe so you never miss one. Just wait.